Hi everyone, I'm David Warbridge, Associate Director at Harris & Clarke. In today's video, we're going to explore one of the most important aspects of managing construction projects, how to build your budget. Now, when we talk about construction budgets in the UK, we're not just looking at bricks and mortar and labour, we also have to account for a whole host of additional costs like planning fees, building control, health and safety compliance under CDM regulations, and all the surveys and reports that are needed before you even break ground. So in this video, I'll walk you through what to consider when building a budget step by step and highlight the key costs you need to include to avoid nasty surprises later on. Construction in the UK is tightly regulated and often involves multiple layers of approvals and oversight. That means a realistic budget isn't just for a financial planning tool, it's also a compliance and risk management tool. Without a detailed budget, projects often run into two major problems: unexpected on-costs, things like planning conditions or late design changes, and cash flow issues, particularly if payments from clients or funders don't line up with the outgoing costs. A strong budget provides clarity and confidence to clients, contractors and project teams alike. Step 1. Define the scope of work. The first step is to always define the scope. In the UK, this often starts with a REBA plan of work stages. Being clear about what stage you're budgeting for, whether it's for early feasibility, developed design, or a fully tendered package, makes a huge difference. For example, is your scope just for the shell and core, or does it include fit out? Will you be handling landscaping, furniture, or specialist systems? Getting this clarity early avoids disputes and keeps your budget realistic. Step 2. Account for pre-construction costs. Here's where the UK projects often trip up. Before you even start construction, you'll incur a series of pre-construction costs. These include planning application fees set by local authorities and depending on the type of project and its scale, building control fees whether you go through a local authority or have an approved inspector, surveys and reports such as topographical surveys, geotechnical investigations, ecology surveys, asbestos surveys, drainage surveys, heritage reports if a site's in a listed or conservation area, CDM obligations, the construction design and management regulations. You'll need to appoint duty holders like principal designers and principal contractors and ensure compliance with health and safety planning. Professional fees, architects, engineers, project managers, costs for consultants and other specialists. These pre-construction items can add up to a significant portion of your overall budget, often between 5 to 15% of the total project cost, so they should never be overlooked. Step 3. Break down the project into work packages. Once pre-construction is covered, move on to the actual build. Break the project into work packages, often aligned with trade packages in the UK tendering process. Typical work packages might include site preparation and enabling works, substructure and foundations, superstructure, building envelope, so the walls, the roof, the windows, internal finishes, mechanical, electrical and plumbing, or now known as MEP, external works and landscaping. By itemising costs in this way, you can compare against benchmark data, get quotes from subcontractors and identify where the costs are concentrated. Step 4. Estimate direct and indirect costs. Direct costs are relatively straightforward. Labour, materials, plant hire and subcontractors. But in the UK context, you must also plan for indirect costs, such as site welfare facilities, temporary works, health and safety compliance costs, waste disposal and environmental compliance, insurance, including public liability and contractors all risk cover. These can add up quickly, especially on larger, more complex sites. Step 5. Don't forget VAT and legal costs. A uniquely UK consideration is VAT. Some construction works are zero rated, whilst others are standard rate at 20%. For example, new build housing is zero rated, but most commercial projects are not. Always check with a tax advisor early, as VAT treatment can significantly impact cash flow. You'll also want to include for legal and administrative costs. For example, drafting and reviewing contracts, handling planning conditions, dealing with Section 106 or community infrastructure levies, obligations where applicable. Step 6. Building contingencies and inflation. As with any construction budget, a contingency is essential. In the UK, typical contingencies range from 5 to 10% for well-defined projects and higher for early stage budgets. Right now, with material price volatility and inflation in the sector, it's also wise to include allowances for price fluctuations. Indices like the BCIS or Building Cost Information Service can help track inflation trends. Step 7. Cash flow planning. Cash flow is often the downfall for even well-prepared budgets. Map out not just the total costs, but when those costs will hit. In the UK, stage payments linked to valuations are standard. For example, a contractor is paid monthly in arrears, while suppliers may demand upfront payments and deposits. Understanding this timing ensures you and your client aren't left short of cash when big invoices land. Step 8. Review, benchmark and validate. Once your budget is drafted, benchmark it against published UK cost data, sources like BCIS, SPONS or the RCS cost analysis reports. Also review it with an independent cost consultant or quantity surveyor. That second pair of eyes often spots missing items or overly optimistic assumptions and opportunities to save. Step 9. Monitor and control. Finally, remember that a budget isn't static. Once construction begins, track actual costs against your budget continuously. In the UK, monthly cost reporting and valuations are standard practice, and change control processes help ensure that variations are properly authorised and accounted for. The sooner you identify variances, the more effectively you can respond. Before I wrap up here, here's a quick few tips for specific in the UK market. Also factor in planning conditions. These can sometimes require additional surveys or mitigation works. Don't underestimate professional fees. Architects and engineers typically range from 8 to 12% of construction costs on smaller projects and slightly lower percentages on larger ones. Keep on top of statutory obligations. CDM compliance, health and safety training and environmental obligations all carry costs. And finally, engage early with local authorities as their requirements can vary from council to council. So to summarise, building a construction budget isn't just about the build cost. You need to allow for planning, building control surveys, CDM compliance, VAT, professional fees and ongoing monitoring. If you cover these areas and with built-in contingencies, you'll give yourself and your project the best possible chance of success. As always, if you need any help or advice on this or any other topic, please feel free to get in touch via our website, harrisonclarke.co.uk, and I'll see you in my next video.